Now recording. And we are a volunteer organization. Our purpose is to provide support to families and teachers and advocate for equal opportunities for all students. We provide information, gather input, and collaborate with the district in the interest of our students. My name is Cheryl Lynn, and I'll be your moderator today. We're excited to have, as I said, Jay and Richard. Before we get started, I'd like to go over just a few things. We have a few meeting norms we try to follow. Take space and make space. Please keep your sound on mute and keep comments in the chat limited, although I understand Jay is going to be answering questions in chat. Closed captioning is available. There's a CC down at the bottom of your screen. And please sign in with the name of your school or schools with your kid's name and your school's name, or your child's name and the name of their school, or at least the name of your school if you're not comfortable with that. Chat notes will be saved by the PTSA to track where our attendees are from and who we still need to reach out to. So I want to bring up bios here, quick introductions. So Jay Kim is an information and resource coordinator at the ARC of King County. As a social worker who has a developmental disability, she believes these services are critical, including education, housing, and employment. Jay believes that social services are a basic need to which all people should have access. Woo-hoo. This is also why she wanted to study social work, to advocate for people with disabilities and to support them to lead successful lives. Another, whoo, she wants to help them find their voice because they are the ones to face the challenges and they know what they need to be successful. Oh, couldn't say it better. What I aspire to for my son. And Richard, I don't actually have your bio up again because I know we talked. Richard is with the ARC of King County and works on parent outreach.
Yeah, I work within the parent-to-parent program, specifically supporting African-American families, as well as our broader communities. And also, I am really excited about the work that I've been able to do with our advocacy team around civic engagement. So that's me.
I think we need to bring total independent. We need to bring civics back to the classroom, and we need to make sure that all of them are full inclusion classes. There we go.
That's right. That's right.
I'm standing on my soapbox. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Richard. And do you want me to start the slides right now?
That'd be fantastic. We can jump right in.
And where's my slide share? Still not exactly streaming through all these things. Okay,
yeah,
so
I'll just say, I think this is a great conversation that we're going to have. And I so appreciate you having me and having Jay on today. It's, that we oftentimes get so focused in on high school process, college process, but there's that big open wide abyss that's like after those journeys and those adventures. Okay, now what happens? So this is a needed conversation around how to prepare for the future beyond those. So again, thank you for having me.
Great. Okay, here we go.
Awesome. Awesome. So like I said, I said the word adventures. So yeah, we're going to talk about a couple of different pathways to employment, but then also it's broader than employment. One of the, we're good, we can go forward. One of the routes that you can take, I'll just say it like this. There are different supports in place for individuals that want to just go forward with volunteer work and also employment. And okay, so what does that mean? We'll jump into DVR, Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. Now, this is an agency that is focused on, yes, people with intellectual and physical disabilities, people with autism and certain abilities and barriers, but it isn't specific. It's very, very broad. So if you are someone who, let's say you were working on a construction site and some bricks fell and hit your head or your body, and you ended up getting a brain condition that was not like it, that was different than, and changed basically how you were, or created barriers for you. After that event, the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, they create, they've created supports for individuals like that who want to get back into the workforce. But it's not limiting anyone else from the community, but it's very broad. I think because of the broadness, sometimes you can get lost in the process if you don't know specifically what the process is and where you fit in that process. DVR is a statewide resource assisting people with disabilities, prepares them for and secures, maintains, advises in and regains employment. So there are individuals who may have had employment and had some issues, injuries, things of that nature, and they're trying to get back into the employment sector. DVR kind of takes them in and tries to help and support them. The program is geared towards the broad disability community. That's something that I shared a moment ago. And then the program is 90 days. So this is a 90-day. Now this is one of those differences that I want you to kind of hone in on. It's a 90-day process. So that's 3 months. And in that pursuit period, they will try to equip you with the things they believe you need to get a job or better your circumstances. So you'll be grouped with an advocate or an individual who will walk you through the process, as well as prepare you. Like if that's resident, you need work with your resume, you need work if you need practice on interviewing, you need someone to go into the community and see who's hiring, set up interviews. They will support you in that, in those needs. Here's the thing, you have to be approved for the DVR process. So you're gonna have to fill out an application and go through the process. It's not lengthy, it's standard, but it's just talking about your scenario, what your goals are, and things of that nature. And that, I've kind of shared what that looks like, but it is, I just want to reiterate, it can be a more forced process. It's the pace. I guess pace is the word I'm looking for. It has a faster pace. And so individuals who go through the DVR process, I would advise that they know, okay, I want to get into the workforce. This is something that I'm committed to, and I want my support team and DVR to rally around me and take me down that path. Because once you get in that, they're great. They're also grading you as you move forward through that 90 days. So you'll have a report that's given to you regarding your progress and things of that nature when you've come through it. That model doesn't really work for everyone. And also, it may not be beneficial for those that have, different long-term, short-term goals that they would like to meet. It may not fit in that system, but nevertheless, it is a pathway that people have taken and found great success and support. So I would encourage you to look into that if you want to know what else is out there or what's out there. Now, my slides are not up right now, but I can still go because it's all in here.
I chose to take you off so we were sometimes getting to see you talk. So sorry.
Oh yes, yes. I'm so honored somebody wants to see me talk. And so the other pathway is employment agency support. Now, employment agency support is a little different because the heart and soul of that support is waiver support. So you already have services from DDA. You've been approved in. You have a waiver. A lot of times, Basic Plus or core waiver, and then you take that, you take that and you go to the agency and you say, okay, here is what I have, here's what I'm eligible to partner with you with, whether that's hours. You can say, hey, I'm approved for 40 hours of support a week, or I'm approved for 15 hours of support, and here are my goals. That's the beginning of the creation of your plan, working with the employment agency of your choice. Now, I would say, if you're looking to do more of a expanded experience around employment, this is going to be a good route for you, because you don't have to have paid employment or a paid role as your main focus. So if you're just getting into, let's say you've been in high school, you went to college, and you're kind of figuring out, okay, what do I really want to do with my life? How am I, here are my supports. I'm trying to put all those things together. You can partner with those employment agencies, and they can walk you through a discovery phase where you get to go out in the community and discover what's there, who's hiring, what do those different sectors and fields look like. The idea of volunteering. So just getting in a rhythm of being in the community, you can do that and feel really secure about the decisions that you want to make as far as going into maybe a paid employment situation or being supported in that. So I think the advantage is you can go short-term or long-term with it. And I think both of those are okay. I want to say every person's journey is unique to themselves. So just keep that in mind, that you don't have to be like anyone else. It's really about what you want to obtain. The person with the intellectual or physical disability, what is your personal goal? And then also having a conversation with your support team, your parents, okay, what would they like to see for you as well? But I love the fact that in these scenarios, you being the person that has just graduated from college, or you just got out of high school, you have the power of choice to kind of choose, okay, what do I want to do next? Okay, and so those were two paths that I talked about looking into. Like those are kind of on those pathways, or on the backdrop of ways you can approach this. I think everyone should self-assess and say, okay, how do I get started? What does getting started look like? It's a self-assessment, right? What are my personal strengths? What do I feel like I'm strong in? And everyone has strengths. I'm a believer that everyone is good at something. Everyone can achieve levels of success no matter who you are. And of course, we all have challenges. No one is exempt from having challenges. So taking time to analyze those things, bring in trusted individuals to help you look maybe outside of what you can see, and have respectful conversations around that, uplifting and respectful conversations around that, encouraging conversations around that, is, I believe, the first step to really getting started. And then also create a personal employment or volunteer goals with the person who is with the disability. So that's more geared towards maybe a parent or support team, or someone who's in your life who helps you strategize and move forward. I think it's a very big with. A lot of times parents and support staff and team can project more of their vision, not because they want to be controlling or negative or suffocating, but because they care about the outcomes. And so sometimes you can care so much, you want, hey, I want you to do, really good, and I really believe that you would be strong at this, you strong at that. But I think it's really good that the individual with the disability should be leading, should be leading and should be sharing, and then be free to ask for support. And sometimes those are scary conversations, because I know I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I know there's going to come a day where they're going to tell me, this is what I'm trying to do. Like this, this is what I'm all about. And you know what? I have to be okay with whatever that is, because it's their choice, right? So I have to support them in that and try to use whatever wisdom that I have. So I really want to encourage that aspect when you're getting started after the high school, after the college, and you're looking at the bigger, broader world. Okay, getting out in the community. I mean, this is really the let's just jump in the water type of mentality. Like, let's just get out there and see what's available. It might be scary. You might have some anxiety around it. You might be like, what are we doing? But just getting out there is what I suggest. Sometimes we can overthink things and try to have such a tight strategy before we put our foot outside of the door. But I think getting out there is you're going to learn a lot. It's going to be fun, and it'll be good memories for you and your loved one. And then the benefits of it is you get to see what opportunities are available. You don't know what you don't know. So and I would say also, depending on what community you live in, there are some organizations that are really inclusive. They really understand how to support all of our communities, and you will benefit by knowing who those companies are. Only way to do that is to just get out and just meet people, connect, with people and organizations. At the Arc of King County, I consider us to be huge connectors. A lot of our role is, yes, information and support and creating groups and doing trainings and all those things. But because we've been in this business for such a long time, we're connectors. We love to get people plugged in their community and supported by communities that can really propel and help you move towards success. So that is, yes, using us, but that's still going to stores and shaking hands and, hey, we live 3 blocks from here. We really love your store. Can you tell us your thoughts or your views on this? We're thinking about employment or volunteer work here. It gives you a stronger sense of what's around you. I think in getting jobs or getting opportunities, being able to, in this day and age, being able to go in person is such an advantage. A lot of people apply for things or reach out for things online, but it means a lot to go shake someone's hand and say, hello, my name's Richard, or hello, my name is Steve, or what have you. And so I would encourage you to get out in your community and get started. All right, Autumn's story. Now, Autumn, so I left this out of my introduction. Please excuse me for that. But in my history, I served as an employment professional, or what you probably know as a job coach. I did that for about 3.5 years here in Washington. And I was able to get employment for my clients, places like Walmart, Target, Microsoft, Weyerhaeuser, all of these, thrift stores and bookstores and all those different things. And I always like to share Autumn's story because it really shows how we can work together to achieve goals that may be beyond what we think someone can do and beyond what the individual thinks they can do. And so that's really kind of the heart of this story. So Autumn, an individual that I was supporting, I was her job coach, and she did not live with her parents. She lived in like an assisted living home. And so she would do standard things like go on walks and have her routine as far as outings and things of that nature. But she had brought up that she wanted a paid job. And so she had volunteer roles in the past. Her staff knew that, and you know, her support team, they were aware of like her strengths and maybe some of her challenges, of course. But when I came on the scene, her thing was, I want to work and I want to get paid. And I was like, okay, I get it. Those are really cool things. And so I could tell there was a little pullback as far as her support circle, but I chose to use my own strategies and get out in the community. So I said, okay, you like to walk, so let's just walk and see what's around. See, and you tell me what you like as we're walking. And so we go walk, and we ended up finding a St. Vincent de Paul. Now, I don't know about you guys, I'm a thrifter. I like to thrift. I like to go into places like that and find something that could be $50, but I got it for $3. Like, I feel like my wife is ready for me to stop thrifting, but but I like to thrift. And so I said, you know, let's go to the St. Vincent de Paul and let's just look around and let's talk to some of the people in there and see kind of what the landscape is. And so she was fine with that. We went in and kind of talked to some of the folks, and we would visit there like, you know, once a week we did that for about, you know, almost a month until they kind of knew us, they regulars, right? Oh, it's Richard and Autumn. And, you know, you make sure you greet it. Hey, you know, kind of let them know you're in the place. And so then we moved in. I said, would you like to volunteer here? Do you like this environment? I see that you like going through the clothes and you like looking at different things. Like, would you like to volunteer here? And so she said yes. And so I said, okay, I have some ideas. So I talked to the manager and I said, are you guys open to letting Autumn do something here in your store? I see a couple of opportunities. Now, this is me thinking out of the box. They could say, what do you mean? We're not hiring right now. We haven't posted anything. Like, do something. What was that? But they were like, well, what did you have in mind? And I said, you know what? I noticed you guys have a lot of hangers on these racks. Like, there are a lot of empty hangers. And I think it would be beneficial if you had someone get those hangers and put them in a cart and bring them up front. I think that could really help. And they're like, you know what? You're right. Like, they looked and like, and thank goodness that day the racks looked terrible. So that was like a win. Like, you know, get this thing together. So so they're like, yeah, okay. And I said, and you know what, Autumn, would you like to introduce yourself? You know, I'll let Autumn speak for herself, you know, because that's respect, that's honor. So let her introduce herself and just say, okay, so we're here, and we were kind of having a conversation about volunteer roles. Do you think she could come in and grab your hangers once a week, just for a couple hours, just for volunteer? And they're like, sure, let me ask, you know. And so I said, yeah, we'll touch base with you tomorrow. And if it's something that works for you, then we'll come back on, I think this was a Monday, we'll come back on like a Thursday. How's that? They're like, great. Fast forward, ended up working out. Autumn started to take the hangers. She started to, I mean, she was great at it too. And, you know, spotting hangers. And we kind of made it a competition. I wasn't trying to do her job, but I was like, I need a cart too, but I need to back away because I want to compete. This is her role. But she was getting all the hangers and bringing them up. And instantly you could see the staff there appreciated that because it helped them process all the new, because they load in all the new stuff in the back. They already had their hangers ready. It was great. So she added value. And so to fast forward, they valued what she did to the point where I was able to ask them, would you consider hiring Autumn on for 1 to 2 days to do this, but to also maybe organize some of the other things you have. She built up credibility, and it was a long shot, but they actually hired her on, and she was able to get a job there and be independent, and she obtained her goal. It was something that she achieved. I didn't achieve that. I supported her, but it wasn't me who did anything great. And I wanted to share that because in this next season, your experience can be similar to Autumn's, where you're just out in the community and you're looking for opportunities and you're looking to see what's around you. And I think if you can keep that lens on and you don't limit yourself or limit the person that you're supporting, that the sky really is the limit. And so I would say be encouraged, and inform individuals who don't get it. So not, you don't want to be that angry person, like, this is what inclusion means. Like, but like, if you do walk into an establishment and they're like, I don't see why, we should have a diverse staff, or we haven't had any trainings on that, or we did have a training. It's like every, January we have that, sow the seeds of like, hey, there are people here that can help you build your business in a more equitable way. And so, you can impact them, and then others will say, hey, I get it. And then you can kind of develop with them. So I would say right now I'm prepared to answer some questions. I see that we have, there's 5, and I don't know if these are questions. These might be people putting their school and their child's name in. But if anyone has any questions, I would be ecstatic to answer them or give you some more feedback. Or we could have a moment of silence. That's good too.
And you're welcome to either put in the chat or to speak. Okay, Martha?
Yeah. What about students with like ADD, ADHD, and executive functioning that might not appear to need as much support, but I've observed need a lot of support. My student is a senior.
Mm-hmm.
So, even just getting the resume together, and like, I'm doing a lot of that.
Yes.
And then there were some issues at her job, like she didn't like quite get how to do the time card thing. So I went in with her. I'm happy to do that, but I don't know if there are other sort of coaching, and there's a difficult person there's a difficult supervisor there.
Yeah.
Normal job things, like how to support a young person,
those scenarios.
Yeah.
Well,
those scenarios there's, those scenarios.
Yeah, no, I believe I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I would say, okay.
But they might not qualify for some of those other things.
Right. So I would say, just for the sake of everyone who's listening, I did leave out that if you did not qualify for waiver support, that could lead to you partnering with some of these agencies and being provided hours and resources from that. You can do private pay, which in my case, I'm just going to speak for myself, is on the higher end. It's like $90 an hour to have someone develop a plan for you and to work with your student. And so that is an option. But I would say to further answer your question, advocacy is the word. Advocacy is the word for that scenario.
Right.
You said your daughter?
Yeah.
Your daughter, she is really ahead of the game because she actually has a job. So
right.
Her having that job, it actually allows for you as her advocate to express to the management and those that are supposed to support her, educate them on who she is and some of the things that could help her. Now, you would have to have a conversation with her and say, hey, can I support you? Because, if she doesn't want that, it's like, my mom is literally at my job talking to everybody like this.
Yeah, she doesn't want that. She doesn't want that, but I do see some coaching would be beneficial, and that might not be my role at her age. Like I like the idea of the private person of, hey, this guy's kind of a jerk. How do I deal with him? And I'm like, there are lots of people at my job who are jerks. I deal with them every day. Some people probably think I'm a jerk. So so we just have to learn like how to support her. And I didn't know about the time thing. And then she felt embarrassed. And it's complicated. Like, I don't think she would welcome my interference. So she would view it as interference.
I would say that individuals that I've supported, so I'm just going to speak from experience, there have been scenarios where I've actually been signed into support someone who is eligible for employment support. They don't necessarily want me to be in the mix, right? So I'm there to support, but they really, really want to lead. How I made progress in those scenarios was I had conversations removed from, the setting of like, I am your, your job coach. And you are the person that I'm going to instruct about how to do well when you go to work.
Right.
I more so had to approach it from be more relatable as far as like, how are things going? Like, what do you like about your job? What do you like about your job? What are some things that you don't like? Like, who's in it? Who's irritating? Like you kind of lean into like the relational side of like, and I know I have some jerks that I work for. Are there any jerks at your job? Because like, they're everywhere,
Yeah.
and if there's that, if you build on that, surprisingly enough, she may come around to, and I don't know your relationship, so I don't want to say anything judgmental, but she may come around and say, you know what, I want to share a little bit more with you about that jerk situation. There's a guy who, and then you ask, hey, can I give you some advice?
Right.
Can I, and as far as, you're having a hard time clocking in, just want to let you know, there should be someone at your place of employment that should be able to train you on how to properly do that.
Right.
So like, that's like a standard thing, right? It's something she's entitled to.
Yeah.
So I hope I've shot, kind of put a little bit of light on that. It's taking the relational approach, giving the individual just the dignity to be like, yeah, this is me, win or lose, it's going to be because of how the choices that I'm making.
Right.
They feel a lot of times if individuals in the working force, if they feel that you're that type of person in supporting them, I've seen you can get a little bit further as far as getting into the conversation or getting into the scenario to be able to help them.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering, like my child is almost 18. So at 18, like, what is the parent role in those
when I was
situations?
18, I thought I knew everything. Okay?
Yeah, of course, me too.
I should have wrote a book when I was 18 because I just knew it all, and I think that's just, that's a pretty common experience, right? There are some really, really wise 18-year-olds that love to listen to counsel, and there are those.
I was not one.
Yeah, I wasn't either. But so it's just finding ways to be supportive from a distance and build relationship in a way that they know that you're letting the individual know that yes, that is yours. You are in charge of that. You're leading that, but I'm here and I understand where you're at or maybe some of the things that you want to achieve. And then hopefully at some point you can collaborate and that person lets you in. And then, now you're advocating, you're sharing, and hopefully things are getting better at the job.
Yeah. How do you find a job, if the job coach was preferable? How do you find people like that who are used to working with people with whatever kind of disabilities?
It really depends on the agency you go to. And if you go to the correct agency, they should equip the job coach to lead in that way. So that should be that's information up front that you would know. Even if you just Googled, employment agencies in Washington, you'd be able to, a host of agencies would click, you'd read their mission and vision, and you could do the research and say, oh, okay, these people, they get it, or they, it seems like they understand what I want. And then if you were to partner with them, then they would assign your daughter, if that was a route, if this was something you're trying to do, they would assign her with someone. There would be an interview process. So she would meet a host of people, and technically she would hire them, right? So she'd hire on her coach from that agency, and then they would move forward with the plan that they established for whatever reason.
Thank you. Thanks.
That's how that works.
That's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Richard, I have a question. I guess I thought I had the DVR and the transition and the employment agency kind of puzzle pieces figured together, but with DVR being a 90-day, so the 18 to 21 transition, that is kind of the skill learning, or what do I say, job interest and some skill development, and then 21 is job coach, or job coaching starts before that?
Job coaching job coaching can start before that. So I guess what I'm asking, or I guess let me just make sure I understand what you're asking is, you're asking when someone can sign in to, or to apply for DVR or apply for services around employment?
I thought that DVR didn't kick in until you were 21.
That is true. That is true.
Okay.
That is true.
So, but the 18 to 21, the transition window, you can also be working with employment agencies through, or the bridges. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So you can, depending on the individual, the track they're on. So you have different college programs like the Achieve program. You have these different transition programs that you can be involved in that 18 to 21 period. So I've personally, in the role that I'm in now, walked an individual through what it's going to look like once they come through their transition program, what employment's going to look like. I will also add that it does not hurt to start to build relationships with individuals at DVR and in some of these agencies, to let them know that that's the direction that you desire to go in the future. Sometimes that means, if you're brand new to, like, let's just say you're fresh in the mindset of like employment after, you may not really know anything about waiver support or being approved or any of those things. So I always encourage, like, coming out of high school, to start looking into the details around the DVR process, and also what it looks like to get involved in, transition programs, but also employment agencies, if this is something you believe that's in your future after your program or college. Does that help?
Yeah, I think so. So I guess I was figuring the 18, for my own personal case, 18 to 21, he would be in a bridges program to 21. The college programs that we've explored, and actually, Martha, I don't know if that's something that might be relevant to your daughter, but the college programs seem, even at the Bellevue College OLS, seems like really well, maybe more than what he's gonna, where his capabilities are right now. So I'm trying to figure out what to kind of figure,
like what to do meantime wise.
Yeah, that 18 to 21, do I need to be, I kind of was thinking, oh, he's doing bridges through high school, and then there's a little bit of job coaching, but it sounds like I might need to know more of that world a little bit more.
I would, well, I don't know your son, so I would say, looking at the direction that he wants to go on, and just his strengths and what you see as success, what you both see as success for him, I would look into that, and then look for, there are still courses and resources around strengthening his skill set, and kind of pulling him into something that a better understanding of what he wants. So I think in that 18 to 21 period, the idea of applying for a job for some is frightening. The fact that I'm going to have to present myself in a certain way, and they have the power to say yes or no, you get the job or you don't. Like, there are different programs, and there are different courses that he can be enrolled in that are gearing him up without him actually having to be enrolled with like a DVR, or have the employment agency all locked in and ready to go. So I would say a lot of times the Achieve programs and those bridge programs fit perfectly right there. And so that's also something that I've seen some families, they're preparing for that in high school. They're saying, hey, this is the track that we have you on, and we want to hit the ground running when you transition. You get your certificate or your diploma, or you move forward. And then you kind of fill in that. And that's why you really do have to be creative, because it's not like a streamlined scenario where like everybody, get on the ride and you're going to get there. No, it's like something that when it gets there, you got to get creative. There are resources, but they become less. And that's one thing that I also want to speak into is that being creative is a big deal. Getting out in the community is a big deal, because the older your student gets, it's almost like the opportunities for support get less and less and less, or they get more focused into, okay, you can have this or you can have this, you know? And so I think that's kind of the way to think of it, kind of the way to create within that in between meantime period. And I think it would be beneficial when you are eligible to get into some of those other agencies. Does that help some? Cool, thanks. Anyone else? I think we're good on time. So if anyone else has anything they want to add. All right. Okay. Then I guess I would say thank you so much for listening to me. I really appreciate the opportunity to answer questions and engage and share about these topics. And if I could leave you with just a couple of thoughts, don't be discouraged. In this whole process, don't be discouraged. There are people out there that are wanting to help individuals like yourself in the workforce, in these different agencies and programs. I know that sometimes it can get really discouraging because maybe the information is not being provided well, or it seems really confusing, or you're getting pushback. I've seen personally people get through it and really reap the benefits of like just persevering and not getting down on themselves because of some of the challenges. So please take that with you as well.
One more question here. Oh,
yeah, a question. Yes. What's up?
Oh, do you want me to say my question? Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So my student, yeah, Bridges, she's not a person that would qualify for Bridges. She's too high functioning. I mean, she's very high functioning. She just has a lot of executive functioning, planning, decision making, learning challenges, reading.
Okay.
What does SPS provide, if anything? So I know there's the Bridges program, but she's not a candidate. I've been told she's not a candidate for that. She would be really frustrated in there. So is there anything I should be doing with the school district to look for that, or or are they like too overwhelmed and I should just focus on like getting her the support she needs this year and be done?
Well, I mean, I honestly, outside of this meeting, I would like to set up a time to talk with you and
Sure.
unpack that. I'd love that. So I think my email address, I can put my email address in the chat box for you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I would love to just set up a time and like fully unpack that. There's no short answer for that. Okay. So if you're open to it, I can.
Yeah, that would be great, because I do see her, like how she's applied for the job and working now, and just some challenges I'm seeing that will her curve is a little longer than other people's, but she'll get there. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because it's not a one size all answer. So I don't want to say
no. And people have really different needs, and can be successful in different ways. Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great if I could have your email.
Yep. So I will put it in the chat box right now.
Great.
Okay, let's make sure I have that right. So it's rmullen@arcofkingcounty.org. So
I'm not seeing that yet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it.
It's saying privately. It says from me to Jay, Arc of King County. So I think you know what?
You sent it to Jay.
I sent it to Jay, and Jay and I are colleagues. Yeah, she
doesn't need that.
If anyone has my email, it's Jay.
It's already Jay.
A lot. So she's like, Rich, I don't want to see your email. So let me get out of this. Well, I will figure out how to get my email address.
I can find you. I'm good at finding resources for my students. I will find. I'm just writing your name down. Okay.
Yep. And my email is rmullen@arcofkingcounty.org. Okay. It's also on the ARC website. You'll see a goofy picture of me and all of my titles and such. And
yeah, great.
You can reach out. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. I really appreciate the forum and opportunity to have a conversation. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, I just dropped that in. Hey, Jay, I might ask, what are some of the recommendations that you would make in terms of making sure that people, individuals are able to advocate for their own interests?
Yes, Jay, we would love to hear. Start
Yeah.
early. There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Start early. Get in. Yep. I would agree with that for sure.
That's actually really good. That's good to note. Okay. Okay, great. So I saw Shauna, thank you. I'm glad that you were able to just kind of sharing information is always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions at all? Well, great. Well, thank you. Let me just, if I can ask everybody just to sit with me for a minute while I go through my elements. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording.